Does the infamous Vietnam War even need an introduction? It saw the United States send troops to fight for the anti-communist South and withdraw before the end of the conflict. But why did the US even get involved? Hey historians, welcome back to the Why in History. I'm your host, Alexander. In 1941, Japan invaded French Indochina, which encompassed present-day Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. France had been overrun by Germans the previous year, which meant they couldn't really do anything about it. To fight off the occupying Japanese, Ho Chi Minh, a Vietnamese independence advocate and communist, created the Viet Minh, which was supported by the Allies. On September 2, 1945, shortly after Japan's surrender in World War II, Ho Chi Minh established the independent Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Soon after, France tried to reassert its control over Vietnam and removed its government from power, sparking the First Indochina War. At the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in spring 1954, the Viet Minh scored a decisive victory, and as a result, France gave up and withdrew from all of Indochina. There was just one condition: Vietnam would be split at the 17th parallel, with the communists getting control of the north and the anti-communists getting control of the south. Originally, the division would only last until 1956, when there would be an election across both countries that would decide who ruled them both. However, it soon became clear that such an election would not be fair, causing the plan to be abandoned. Both Vietnams were politically oppressive. In the north, Ho Chi Minh crushed the opposition and won almost all the votes, and in the south, the situation was even worse. The entire political system was based on nepotism. A year after the French left, there was a referendum to decide whether the South would remain a monarchy or become a republic under the current prime minister, Ngo Dinh Diem. Diem put his brother in charge of the voting, and as a result, he won with over 98% of the vote, including more than 100% in many places. Right after his win, he proclaimed the Republic of Vietnam. Because of his anti-communist views, Diem still had US support, but in South Vietnam, he was very unpopular. Ho Chi Minh dreamt of uniting all of Vietnam, and to do that, he armed and supported the Viet Cong, a group of insurgents that caused chaos in the south. In 1958, North Vietnam invaded its neighbor, Laos, in order to establish the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which it used to deliver weapons to the Viet Cong. It was during this time that the US began to believe in the domino theory. In a nutshell, the domino theory made the US think that if South Vietnam fell to communism, then it would become more likely that other Asian countries would fall to it as well. Back in South Vietnam, it was clear that Diem was not the right person for the job. Most of the high-level military positions were given based on personal connections, not merit, which made the army very incompetent. At this point, the Americans were really tired of Diem's leadership, so when they became aware that a group of rebels was planning a coup, they actually contributed to the funding. On November 2, 1963, 20 days before US President John F. Kennedy's assassination, Diem and his brother were kidnapped and killed. The next 2 years in South Vietnam were marred with coups, but in August 1964, something would happen in the Gulf of Tonkin that would change everything. An American ship, the USS Maddox, had been engaging on reconnaissance missions near the coast of North Vietnam. On August 2, 1964, it was spotted and approached by North Vietnamese torpedo boats. All ships involved, including the Maddox, were damaged and there were 10 casualties on the North Vietnamese side. However, the US Congress panicked and gave the president the power to send troops to any Southeast Asian country whose government was in jeopardy without congressional approval or a formal declaration of war. Additionally, the US started bombing North Vietnam. Even after the final coup in December 1964 forced a change in South Vietnam's government, the better equipped South Vietnamese troops were still failing miserably. Because of this, in March 1965, President Johnson made the difficult decision to send American troops to fight in Vietnam. And this was the beginning of the US's involvement in the Vietnam War. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and remember to subscribe. If you have any other history questions you want to see answered, leave them in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.